Rupert Fleck stands on his balcony, addressing the whole ship. The artificial sun is suspended a little closer to the desert region with the help of electromagnets that protrude from the center of each hexagon.
Every man is an island.
The people wandering in shock and rocking in the fetal position look toward the holograms with glazed-over eyes.
And every woman is a sea.
The captain runs through the streets of Rupertstopolis toward the castle.
I mean a sea like water, not the C word. I would never say that while I was being recorded.
The captain trips on a curbside and face plants. Rupert Fleck says,
I foresaw this calamity. Like so many of the passengers of Asteroid B, I was sick of all the cronyism, and I saw that it was killing us, so I did what I had to leave it all behind. I gathered the best minds in astrophysics, engineering, computer sciences, health, and bioengineering that I could afford, and then I chose 5 of my best friends, all of whom I met in the Mickey Mouse Club, to help me lead.
2 preteen children approach the captain. The little girl says,
Are you okay, mister?
Fleck says,
I don't know who needs to hear this, because you'd be stupid to think I didn't have everything under control.
Mayhe leans in toward Fleck and says,
Don't insult anyone right now.
You may be right, Mayhe. I'll play it safe right now.
The little boy kicks the captain in the ribs and asks,
Are you alive?
The captain groans and rolls over. Fleck says, The captain's left eye is yellow and swollen.
I think so. I shouldn't think I'd be in so much pain if I was in heaven, and it's not quite as bad as I expect hell is going to be.
He puts his hand up to his eye.
Oh God, this hurts.
That's how you know you're alive.
The kid says. Fleck continues with entirely unearned confidence.
I built Asteroid B to last. We could feasibly live forever here. I mean our descendants. Almost everyone dies eventually.
Dan picks himself up and runs off. The kids shrug at each other, and then their father comes around a corner. Kids! They dash off in the opposite direction. As the captain runs through the castle gates, a small crowd of guards and people in sweatpants stand around a particularly large hologram of Fleck, which says,
Everything's cool on Asteroid B. And anyone who says otherwise is an idiot, and they should be composted. In fact, they will be composted.
Mayhe says,
Okay, I think that's enough for now.
She presses a button on the console, and everyone's wrists stop projecting the hologram. Ed Kratz says,
That was a disaster.
Fleck asks,
Why do you say that?
James Bannister says,
You should have let the captain make the announcement. Isn't that why you hired him?
The balcony door slides open, panting. The captain steps out. He tries not to look up. The mountains above their head are so much closer from up here. He finds the majority of the donors, a.k.a. the Mickey Mouse Club, on the balcony. James Bannister is there, rivaled in rugged good looks only by Ed Kratz. Bannister's wife Carly, in a shining red gown, stands by his side. The comparatively mole-ish Bruce Button stands next to the youngest-looking member, the gorgeous Elena Byron. In a scolding tone, Carly Bannister says,
Captain, why weren't you here to give the speech?
Fleck thinks for a second and says,
Yeah?
Captain Dan regains his breath enough to be dumbfounded by their questions, but his throbbing face is a distraction. He puts his hand up to it.
I tried to get you to let me do the announcement.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Rupert says,
Telling Mayhe.
Mr. Fleck doesn't remember anything inconvenient to him.
That's right, and I wouldn't let you do the announcements looking like that anyway. That's why you're supposed to make your subordinates do your fighting for you. Your black eye just makes you look like a loser.
Captain Dan says,
How? What? You demanded Fleck do it.
He points at Bannister and then at Fleck.
And you said you at least wouldn't do it before I got back.
Actually, I said, yeah. Whatever.
So you admit that you are gaslighting me.
Whoa.
Bruce Button says, taking a step toward the captain with one hand raised.
That's treason.
What?
The captain is flabbergasted. Button continues.
Or mutiny, or whatever.
That doesn't make any sense.
Fleck responds.
I don't know. He's making a lot of sense to me.
Bannister says,
It's not treason, but it is a nasty accusation. Maybe we should get rid of him just in case. We don't need a rat in upper management.
Ed Kratz speaks up for the first time.
He's saying it to his face. That's not rat behavior. That's brave.
The captain says,
Thank you.
It makes up for your pathetic skills in battle.
I'm not paying him to be brave. I'm paying him to follow orders.
Carly Bannister had remained patient up until this point, but no longer.
This treason or whatever can be dealt with later. I have important matters to discuss with you, now that you're finally out of your masturbation chamber.
It's not a masturbation chamber.
Fleck insists.
It's the latest, state-of-the-art, virtual reality.
Sure. So, what's your plan for distracting the kids? I don't know about everyone else here, but mine are sick of swimming and the ball pits are already disgusting. I just can't with their constant neediness. They actually asked me to make them food. I mean, how low class is that?
Fleck asks.
Why isn't your nanny taking care of them?
Carly says.
She wasn't legal, and with heightened security, we couldn't get her onto the plane to the ship. We might have been able to accommodate for that fact.
She looks over at her husband.
If the person making the travel arrangements had half a brain.
James leaps to his own defense.
He came well recommended.
The captain opens his mouth to speak, but Mr. Kratz gets his piece out first.
We could start a boot camp for kids. That would tire them out.
Mr. and Mrs. Bannister turn away from each other to nod in agreement with Kratz, and Mr. Button says,
Yes. That is a great idea.
Kratz says,
Imagine it, in just a couple years, our children will be able to kick our asses. They'll be a force to reckon with.
The captain says,
We could. Wait, who would they be reckoning with?
The rest of the club suddenly loses interest in Kratz's idea. Carly says,
I don't want my children beating me up.
The captain says,
We could open a school.
Fleck says,
Oh yeah.
How?
Bruce says,
Every person on the ship already has a full-time job or purchased their way here. We can't suddenly tell rich people that they have to work for a living.
Fleck says,
I have another genius idea. Mayhe, you have your notepad open, right?
Always.
She says. Fleck nods in approval of his genius idea, with a big, self-satisfied grin as he speaks.
We have the internet. We could use it to teach the kids.
Everyone on the balcony goes silent. The captain says,
Logistics of that aside,
Not to mention all the useless bullshit.
the internet started going down a week ago.
Oh. How much is left?
Mayhe looks at the device on her wrist, which displays the answers to Fleck's questions automatically.
The automated weather channel and 4chan.
Well, that's about as useful as the captain in a fight.